and welcome to WRPB and WRPB Studios. You know, I spend so much of my time in front of this camera talking about people about their businesses and like how serious things are and stuff like that. And business is very serious. Obviously, if you have a brick and mortar, it sometimes could be a nightmare. And in this world of business, we kind of learn to skate the line as best we can so that we stay in business. But every so often, you kind of connect with somebody who's in business, kind of gets it, but also has a real world. With me is Gary Owen. Hey, Gary.
Hey, how you doing, Wayne? Good to see you.
Great. Okay, so I met Gary through the Stuart Martin Chamber, okay? And we kind of connected, and you do a podcast or a radio show?
Yep, do a radio show, and of course it turns to a podcast, but we do a show every Tuesday, 10 o'clock on WSTU 1450 and WPSL 1590, and Facebook Live.
Okay. You guys know how I feel about Facebook Live, okay? Because you do Facebook Live, it's here, but by the time I get to watch it, it's already here and I can't see it because there's 72,000 other people that have posted above it.
That's right.
It is what it is, and Gary is like, I want to take out the business aspect for a second because you do insurance.
Correct.
You Medicare, you're going to be doing my Medicare.
Medicare, life and health, disability, long-term care, dental, vision, anything related to your health, your quality of life and health.
Okay. That's his business side. And we're going to get into that maybe. We'll see. I don't know. But he has so many other sides. You have so many other sides to you.
Yeah, I do.
So, tell me about, so you have an event, and you talk about, is it a margarita?
Oh, you're talking about the our annual business after hours at the chamber? Yes, we host. Typically, February is the month we host the Stuart Martin County Chamber of Commerce business after hours, and we like to really make it magnificent and fun. And I make my homemade margaritas.
Okay, but it's not just a regular margarita.
It is not just it's Gary's love.
Okay.
Tears.
Okay.
Not in the juice itself, but you know I sweat to make it. But I use fresh limes.
Okay.
Buy 50 to 100 limes, press it, squeeze fresh lime juice in it, take a jalapeno, press the jalapeno juice and muddle it together with my high-end spirits that I use in my margarita, and it is spectacular.
Okay, so
people rave about my margaritas.
Right, and that's what I had heard. Now, you guys know I don't drink, but...
Oh, I'll drink your portion.
There was plenty of people there to drink my portion. All right, how'd you come up with the idea of adding jalapeno?
Because I had gone to a trip to Cancun, Mexico, and got a margarita that sounded interesting, so I tried it, and I fell in love with it. So I took it home, and it's been a hit ever since.
All right, besides the ingredients you mentioned, what alcohol goes in a margarita?
Well, tequila.
Okay.
Contro.
Okay.
And one other high-end orange liqueur that I use as well. And sometimes I put a little bit of... sugar water in it. Sometimes it depends on the customer or depends on the event, but that's basically it. And I tell you, it's also a lot of people don't like to put in. They like to squeeze in the lime juice that you buy at the store. It's garbage, man. So use the fresh lime juice and the pulp that's in it. It's spectacular.
But that's your signature drink
for that event.
Right, but that's not your signature
for that event.
So you have two pieces that I've heard. Okay, one is bourbon, and one is whiskey.
So, I also have a whiskey club. We meet. I've been doing this now for probably 7 to 10 years.
Wow.
I have this whiskey club. We meet once a month, and occasionally we do whiskey trips to Scotland every couple of years. Yeah, we take about 10 to 15 guys with us and go to Scotland, and gals. It's just not limited to men.
Right.
But once a month we meet on the first Friday of every month. We typically have been meeting at the Fox Club in Stuart West. And then, so now what we're doing is we're going amongst our members' homes and doing events there.
Probably the best way to go.
It is. It's intimate. It's fun. Right. And we do 6 different whiskeys. Depends on the month. So it could be a single malt whiskey. It could be an Irish whiskey, like last month was an Irish whiskey month, tasting. It could be a tequila. It could be wine. It's or bourbon. And it's fun, man. So people that are getting into whiskey tasting where they don't know which whiskey or which scotch or which tequila to buy, they come to our whiskey tasting, try 6 different samplings. Oh, God, I like that one, or I like that one. So instead of having to buy 10 bottles to figure out which one you like, you come to a sampling and you taste the different ones, and then you go and buy the one that you like.
You know, I kind of get it because though I don't drink, I do host wine and chocolate pairings because my wife's a chocolatier.
Awesome.
Okay. I have made truffles for Perfect Vodka.
By the way, great chocolate too.
Oh,
Phenomenal chocolate.
So Perfect Vodka, we made chocolate for them. We made chocolate for Tease Me Tequila. We made chocolate for Muscle Vodka. We made chocolate for Tito's. So we'll get a bottle, and then we'll take it and
That's interesting.
infuse whatever into a chocolate, and then you do 6 whiskeys. So we would do 6 chocolates.
Huh.
Okay, and they would be alcoholic truffles. It's not like if you go to a chocolate store, a candy store, or whatever, and buy rum flavored chocolate. The key word there is flavor. It's really a rum flavor. It's not rum.
Right.
Ours is actually the alcohol, and if you have
Big difference.
3 pieces, you can smell it on your breath. You won't get stopped by a cop if you had 3 pieces.
Officer, I haven't been drinking, I swear.
But so for someone like me, okay, who doesn't drink, and
We have water. Lemonade.
what chocolate goes with what? But the thing is, here's how I see it. For me, the taste was the first thing that turned me off about alcohol. The other thing was I owned bars for years. And the stupidity of the kids that come out of bars, like college bars, was just utterly ridiculous. And I didn't want to be that stupid in public.
Yeah.
Okay? So that was the other thing. And lastly, I had it in me that I was always afraid that I would drink too much and get behind the wheel. Those were like my issues. So, like, what do you, like, your whiskey tasting, you're not drinking a bottle of whiskey.
No, you're only drinking 1.5 ounces of each bottle. So, and at the end, and I'll get back to your first point in a second, but and at the end, whatever whiskey we have left over, we auction it off. So if somebody, Ruth over here loved whiskey number 3, she's gonna put the best bid on that bottle to take it home.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's fun. But as far as taste, I mean, that's really where the rubber hits the road and what we do. Because it's not about just coming in and drinking whiskey and having fun, even though we do, but it's about educating and learning about that whiskey, learning about that distillery, learning about the region where it comes from, what water, where lake it comes from. So all these components are important to drink. It's an adventure. It's just not out there and pounding whiskey. You're sipping it, you're tasting the flavor profiles, you're putting drops of water in it to open up, to dissipate the alcohol by volume content, and to bring out the flavors that was in that cask. It's an amazing experience, Wayne.
But I mean, I could get that.
I'm getting excited. Does anybody have any whiskey around here?
I could get that. It's an amazing experience because my daughter and her fiance are wine connoisseurs.
Sure. Same thing with wine.
So they
absolutely.
They just got back from Napa for 6 weeks.
So I was up there too.
Okay, so they spent 6 weeks. They go to Napa.
Not 6 weeks for me though. Only one.
Well, it's a little different because he has the ability to work from anywhere in the world.
Nice.
So Mondays he takes off and goes to a winery in Virginia because they live in D.C. And works for free, just to learn. And I guess there's courses that they take. So he's like on course 5. She went to course 2, it was enough for her.
He's going to be a sommelier.
Yeah, but he's not going to leave what he does for a living. He's a patent attorney. Okay.
But once he retires, that'll be his passion, probably.
I said to them, are you going to buy a winery? Is that what you want to do? And she said, I don't think so. I don't think he wants, I think he likes to do it because he likes to do it. Like, they came home from 6 weeks with over 500 bottles of wine. They probably have $500,000 worth of wine in their house. Wow. They don't open $3 bottles of wine.
Yeah.
Okay? Their bottles of wine are 100, 200.
No winking out here.
No. And here's the story. My daughter was in Orlando. And you have kids?
Yes.
Okay. So she's 33. And she's in Orlando for a conference. So she says, why don't you drive up and have dinner with us? She was with her friend. I said, all right. But for me, it's a whole project because now I got to get a caregiver for my mom, so that's over $100. Gas. Though my daughter has more money than I do, I won't let her pay for the bill. But it kind of irks me a little bit because the bill was over $300.
You sure?
Okay, because she got a bottle of wine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I'm like, I don't drink.
Yeah,
Why am I paying for
yeah,
that? I don't even get to taste.
I can't see spending $500 on a bottle of wine or a whiskey unless you're going to use it as a collector item. I mean, that I can see as a collector's item, maybe.
What about special occasions?
Special occasions.
Like I get my Medicare card.
Yeah. Well, you don't drink, so I'll pull out a nice, maybe probably a Macallan 18 for you. And
is that's a whiskey?
That's a single malt whiskey up from the Speyside region of Scotland.
Okay, so it's really kind of interesting because, like, you talk that, they talk wine the same way.
Sure.
It's
sure.
really. Look, I go back to when I was a kid, okay, and you know it was Boone's Farm, okay, on the stoop at the house, okay, because they were kids and we weren't supposed to drink.
You made me throw up in my mouth a little bit.
So, really, so now I'm really kind of learning that it really is a specialized thing. So it's really not just a bunch of guys going to get drunk.
That's right.
It's really about a bunch of people trying to experience different wines.
And Wayne, in addition to that, you know, we smoke cigars. Our club is called the Cask and Ash Club. So spirits are distilled in casks, you know, are matured in casks. And then for the ash, so cask and ash for the cigars. So it's a lot of fun, and you build that camaraderie amongst friends, and new people come in, you know, and they you know, they want to come and see what it's all about, so they come and they join, and it's great fun and great camaraderie.
Okay, so how many people come to this event?
It depends. I mean, at one point it was just getting out of hand, and we had like probably 40 people.
Oh wow!
On average, though, we're probably right around 15 to 20 on a given night.
Oh, so everybody that comes. Everybody who's part of it really use a bigger house.
Yeah, that's right. And we provide food. So, this on the 1st of April, Friday, April Fool's Day, it's at my house. No fooling around. We're going to be bringing out, you know, ribs. We're going to put those on the grill, and
I saw what you could do.
Oh my God, man! We're going to have a great spread, and so when we have it at different people's homes, they'll do the same thing, and they'll make food, and I bring the whiskeys, and we have a whiskey prayer that starts the meeting. We do a whiskey prayer, which is really fun, and we do a tasting note. So we read before we do the sipping. We read the flavor profiles. We read information about the distillery and things of that nature. What, you know, the aromas. Then you taste it. So it's really educational. More than anything else, it's educational.
All right, why? Why'd you get into that?
Well, good question. Why? I had a friend of mine who was in the industry. He was a financial advisor, and we ran a radio show where I'm doing my radio show now. So we ran a radio show together, and his office was above the radio show in downtown Stewart. So he'd have me come up to his office, and he'd, Gary, I just got back from Scotland. I got these bottles, but try one. I'm like, I don't know if I'm interested in that. So I tried it, and the rest is history. I loved it. And
okay, that best whiskey. What about the bourbon side?
The bourbon. So I like bourbon as well, but whiskey is you know, my go-to, is my favorite. But there are some great bourbons as well. And bourbons have a higher ABV content, or alcohol by volume content, than most whiskeys do. So you can get really messed up quicker on bourbons than you can on whiskeys, on Scotch whiskey.
Most people know that I don't drink. Been drunk like 3 times, and I can remember being in the Bahamas. And
if you got drunk 3 times and you don't drink, what would you get drunk on? Moonshine?
Well, I don't drink like most people. But I drank 1/3 of a bottle, like this was 3 couples. I drank 1/3 of a bottle of 151, and they drank 1/3. And then we were out at the pool. And we had cups lined up all along the thing.
You're just doing shots?
We were doing shots.
Oh, no.
And then we were on the
That's 20-year-olds do that crap.
I was in my 20s.
Oh, okay. Well,
we were on the high platform because there was no diving board on each other's shoulders, so we got thrown out of the pool. So we went into the lobby, soaking wet on all their furniture, and we ordered Grand Marnier and Remy Martin mix. It was $8 then, so you know how long ago it was, because that's like a $40 drink today. Okay? And then I went back, and I basically was pretty useless the rest of the night. And didn't feel so great the next morning.
Yes, yeah.
And I just said, why?
I don't feel that way with drinking whiskey.
Really?
Nope. And you mentioned Grand Marnier, so that was the last ingredient that I put in my.
Oh.
I don't want to tell everybody, but now everybody knows what it is. So, but yeah.
There's a place called, I think it's called Hangar 41. It's on the West Coast, and you can make your own wine there. And you do the basics, and then you leave, and then it sits there, and in whatever barrels or whatever, and then you pick it up a couple weeks later. You label it with your label, and a lot of people go for their wedding.
Sure.
They do their own, which is kind of cool.
You know what's really cool is going to the distilleries in Scotland and seeing exactly how they make whiskey and the process and the length of time it's involved. It's absolutely amazing.
Okay.
And it makes you appreciate drinking it more. It makes you appreciate the time and the intensity and what's involved in making a whiskey. It's just amazing.
Is there distilleries in the States?
There are American whiskey distilleries, mostly in Kentucky,
Kentucky
Tennessee, yep, and Texas, and I think there's some in Colorado. So now they're sprouting up a lot more of these boutiques.
I think there's one opening up around here.
Won't surprise me. I wish it was mine.
I think
The Owen Insurance Group Distillery Company.
Right, you get out of insurance. I think it's called 21st Amendment
Interesting.
Distillery.
Yeah, I haven't heard.
I think it's going to be a whiskey.
Probably is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, I'm as
And
passionate.
they've been here.
What's that?
They've been in here.
Oh, good.
So-
Yeah, I'm as passionate with the whiskey stuff, my whiskey club, as I am in the insurance industry.
Okay.
They're both my passions. I love it.
I am now close to Medicare age.
You're getting there, baby. You're getting there.
I'm going to be 65.
By the way, he is one day. His birthday is one day before mine.
Yeah, but 10 years late. I was born 10 years earlier than you.
Yeah.
Respect your elders.
I'm a decade behind.
So basically, what happens is when you get around, I don't know, 64, a little couple months in, you're going to be bombarded with.
Oh my God,
I
it's
get
ridiculous.
Hundreds of them.
Ridiculous.
So now I have to pick, and one of the reasons I spoke to you when you weren't drinking, so it's really pretty much easier. But no, one of the things that kind of pushed me over the edge about it was when I spoke to you and I told you my situation. You said you already knew a base way to take me, okay? Because there's the supplement and there's advantage.
Correct.
And you already knew because I had the lung illness, the heart condition, that there was a path that maybe
Absolutely.
I would be better on.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like people who know what they're talking about. We don't have all the answers ever, okay? And but it's nice that not that you had the answer, but
we think we
that
always
you-
have the answer.
That you
usually.
thought of a path, so you're already forward thinking about. All right,
Absolutely.
he's coming on. I'm going to have this ready for him so he can see the difference between this and this. But I think this might be best for him. It's no different here. People come here. They do
Yep.
their interview. I try to tell them the best way to handle it. It doesn't always work. Nothing is perfect. That's the world we live in. Some people are perfect doing their own show, and I invite them here to do their own show. But I like someone who's prepared. You don't have to have all the answers, but you have to be prepared.
Well, when you have 15 years of experience in the industry and you have all these clients, thousands of clients that you've worked with in the past, you should know what the heck you're doing. You should be competent by now. And knowing what you see out there with the commercials, I mean, as you said, I mean, you're spot on. People are being inundated with phone calls, emails, text messages, knocks on the door. Their mailbox is getting blown up with offers, and they have no idea who to turn to or what to do. And a lot of times they act like an ostrich, and they put their head in the sand and do absolutely nothing and make matters worse. The only thing that you should be doing is seeking out a bona fide brick and mortar location agency, an independent agency who represents all the carriers, not just one, not being a captive agent who can only represent one plan or one carrier. Muy malo. You need to be able to go to an agent who specializes in Medicare planning, who can offer Medicare Advantage, Medicare Supplement, Part D plans, and has a scope of competency that can take you down the road. Medicare is complicated. It's hard to navigate by yourself. Never, never, never take that road alone.
Amen.
Never.
I did it for my mom, and she was in the wrong plan for years.
I am so glad I was able to help my parents get out. They were on a group retiree plan, and my parents Thought that was the best thing since sliced bread. The premiums kept going up, and it had gone crazy. So I kept telling them, guys, year after year, you need to be on a Medicare supplement plan. So finally, they woke up after the last premium increase, and we were able to help them. So it's important to make the decisions. The decisions you make today can last a lifetime.
Right.
It's important to get it right the first time. And if you don't, call Owen Insurance Group. I think you're making a mistake because, again, we have our client's best interest at heart, and we will always do the right thing 100% of the time.
Well, my philosophy, as you guys have heard a million times, always use a professional. Because if you don't use a professional, you're going to work 3 times harder, it's going to cost you 3 times more, and you're going to have 3 times more the aggravation, and then you're going to have to call a professional to fix it.
If they can fix it.
That happened with my mom. I had to wait a whole year to rechange her plan and get it fixed. So it's very, very important. We're getting to the top of our time. You have a phone number that people can call an office number?
They can call our office at 772-210-1020 or 772-210-1020. And our website is oweninsurancegroup.net. And one more thing, if you're on Medicare or you're approaching Medicare and you want some unbiased information and education about Medicare, we put together a nonprofit organization called MedicareJourney.org. www.medicarejourney.org, and we've put together a bunch of videos that will help address some of the concerns they have and will answer some of the questions they may have.
Interesting. Check out Owen Insurance Group.
Owen Insurance Group.
Okay, and if you want to know anything like about whiskey and stuff, and bourbon,
call somebody who knows.
The only problem with me coming to one of your events is that because I lost 40% of my lung function, the cigar smoke would kill me.
Yes.
I remember, and I have to tell this one quick story. I remember my wife lives in Indiana. We weren't married. I lived here. And we finally decided we were going to meet. So we were going to meet in Orlando. So we go to Orlando, have a lot of sponsors in Orlando. So I went to Disney Quest, and I was part of the live pinball. So I was out of breath. Come out of there, just out of breath. The cigar store is right there with the door open.
Uh-oh.
I passed there. Now remember, I just met my wife. First night that we're going out and doing stuff. I coughed, without exaggeration, for probably 25 minutes. I said, this woman would never want to deal with me. How would I die? I'm going to die.
Well, the good thing is not everybody smokes cigars, just only a handful that do. And I can only do, occasionally. I mean, I can't. There are people in my club that smoke cigars from morning, noon, and night. I don't know how the heck they do it.
My grandfather did it.
I don't know how they do it.
But, yeah, so that's my biggest issue. But learning, like, I've reviewed tons of restaurants, and I've ate food that I didn't really like, or not that I didn't like, but I didn't know anything about. Eggplant is a food that I ate once and hated it until I ate it at the place that made it properly.
Correct.
So I'm going to relate that whiskey, whatever I tasted was probably crap.
Probably.
And that's why it left me with a bad taste.
Yeah, if you buy a $10 bottle of whiskey, I might as well drink cat urine.
And if you want cat urine, I have 2 cats, so I can easily find it.
I don't have any cats.
Gary, it was a pleasure having you on.
Thanks a lot, boy. Appreciate it.
So now, May 3rd, I'm at your show.
Yes, you're coming on to my show, so hopefully everyone's tuning in.
May 3rd.
We're going to have a great time.
Okay, so it's May 3rd.
10 a.m.
10 a.m.
to 11 a.m.
Okay.
on WSTU 1450 a.m. and WPSL 1590 a.m. or on Facebook Live. You can follow us at Quality of Life Radio Show.
Just listen at 10 o'clock. Forget the Facebook stuff. Okay, I tell you that a million times, you don't listen to me. Okay? I won't see it because it's already down my feed.
But these people will see it.
They have 5,000 friends too. Everybody have a great day. We'll be right back.